Previously, Wang and Zi agreed to the Academy's rules that the loser would apologize. The battle began, and the principal noticed that Zhao's beast was different. However, things weren't looking good for Zi as Wang called for his beast to end the fight. His beast trapped Black Fang in an ice prison. Now to this week's chapter. Li Xingyu stood calmly, watching as Black Fang remained trapped in the ice prison. Wang Yan called out, mocking him with a laugh and a smug smile, claiming it wouldn't be long before his beast stayed frozen forever. His leopard beast looked at Li Xingyu with a proud expression, fully aware that it was the one responsible for trapping Black Fang. The principal watched closely, wondering if this was the end for Li Xingyu but puzzled by his calm demeanor despite his beast being trapped. Meanwhile, Chen and his classmates looked on with serious expressions, and Chen couldn't help but wonder what Li Xingyu would do next. Li Xingyu stayed calm, looking at Wang Yan with a slight smile. He asked if Wang really thought his beast was truly trapped in there. Then, with a serious expression, he raised his hand and called out to Black Fang, commanding it to activate the skill Night Stalker. Suddenly, Black Fang's eyes glowed brighter as it understood the command, and its form began to vanish, leaving only a black and red shadowy aura behind. The ice prison now held nothing but swirling red and black energy. Wang Yan shouted in shock, realizing that Black Fang had disappeared, struggling to comprehend what was happening. Meanwhile, Chen looked at the empty ice prison, recognizing that this skill belonged to the dark attribute tree. He couldn't understand how Black Fang could possess it, as he had previously measured the beast himself and found only fire and wind attributes. He wasn't the only one watching intently. The principal's expression grew serious as she considered the possibility that Black Fang might have 3 attributes. She made a mental note to investigate further at a later time to confirm her suspicions. Meanwhile, Wang was still confused about how Black Fang had escaped and began scanning his surroundings, realizing that the beast was still nearby. Unbeknownst to him, a black and red shadow moved swiftly along the ground, creeping up behind him as he continued to search. Suddenly, Black Fang sprang out of the shadow with a fierce roar, its claw aiming straight for Wang. Hearing the roar, Wang turned, hoping it was his own beast but dreading the truth. He looked back just in time to see Black Fang lunging at him. In a flash, his ice leopard intercepted, striking Black Fang and pushing it back. Wang breathed a sigh of relief, realizing he had narrowly escaped. Grateful, he looked at his leopard, silently thanking it for saving him. Meanwhile, Black Fang reappeared beside Li Xingyu, who smiled confidently. He stated they were just getting warmed up and that it was time to show their true strength. Raising his hand, he released a powerful red aura and commanded Black Fang to activate Silent Claw. Understanding the order, Black Fang dashed forward with incredible speed, ready to strike. The leopard was confused as it watched Black Fang dive into the shadows, unsure of what was happening but sensing the need to stay alert. However, it was too late. Black Fang attacked without making a sound, striking from within the shadows. Wang screamed for his leopard to counterattack and fight back, but it was futile. The leopard could only feel the relentless strikes, unable to see or block the attacks as Black Fang moved silently through the shadows, landing blow after blow. Meanwhile, the principal crossed her arms as she watched Black Fang's attack, realizing there was more to it. She understood that Silent Claw was a dark-type attack, and any target hit by it would be silenced for 3 seconds. As she observed the leopard looking confused, she realized that was why Wang Yan's commands were not reaching his beast. It couldn't hear him. Just then, Wang raised his hand again, looking at the leopard as he stated that it was time to end the fight. He knew he didn't have much time left before the leopard recovered. He then commanded Black Fang to activate the skill Hell Howl. Black Fang turned its gaze toward the leopard, its intent clear. It was going to return the damage it had received earlier. It opened its mouth, gathering energy for the attack. Then, Black Fang released its skill and fired a fiery energy beam at the leopard, who could do nothing but take the full force of the attack. The leopard was sent flying into the wall with a crash, then hit the ground, unconscious from the powerful strike. Gimlong checked Wang Yan's beast and saw it was knocked out from the attack. He then walked over to Li Xingyu, raised his hand in the air, and declared him the winner of the duel. Li Xingyu smiled at the crowd, then caught the eyes of his classmates, who cheered and called out to him. They were happy and proud of him, knowing he had won the battle. Meanwhile, Wang fell to his knees in shock, struggling to understand how his rare and legendary beast had lost to a no-path beast like Li Xingyu's. He muttered to himself, saying it was impossible, and couldn't shake the thought that Zixingyu had somehow cheated. His frustration and disbelief were evident as he tried to make sense of what had just happened, but a voice called out, stating that Wang had lost to his beast, the one he had once called useless and had even considered ending. That was not the case today. Just then, the principal appeared on the duel stage and told Wang he must apologize, reminding him that he had to follow the school rules. Wang sat there, motionless, slowly coming to terms with the fact that he had lost. The principal grew serious as she noticed Wang still didn't move. She reiterated that he needed to follow the agreement, stating that the battle was already over. Wang looked up at the principal, his face filled with anger and frustration at the situation. He gritted his teeth, knowing he had no choice but to follow the rules. As the vice principal's son, he understood that he couldn't embarrass his father any further, and the consequences of defying the rules would be worse than just apologizing. With a deep breath, he bowed in front of Zixingyu and muttered a reluctant apology. Zixingyu looked down at him, understanding that this wouldn't be the last time Wang would cause trouble. He knew Wang would likely come after him again in the future. Wang got up, walked away, and glanced back at Zixingyu, still seething with anger over having to apologize. He couldn't accept loss and continued to believe that Zixingyu had cheated somehow. He silently vowed to get even with him someday. Meanwhile, the principal looked at Zixingyu with a rare look of approval. She stated that he had performed well during the match, praising his skills. Then, with a slight smile, she added that he was the second person to ever catch her eye. She then added that she was excited to see how he would perform in the upcoming ranking competition for new students, which would take place in 3 days. Zixingyu didn't quite know how to handle the compliment. He rubbed the back of his head, blushing as he looked down, then shyly thanked her for her words. After a moment, curiosity got the better of him, and he asked who the first person to catch her eye was. She looked at him and stated that it was a young girl genius with a spirit power level over 1000. The student's name was Yishuanging. Then, she began to think and recalled a staff member from this year's entrance exam mentioning a student with a higher spirit power than Yishuanging. She wondered who that could be, realizing there was still someone stronger than Zixingyu out there. Little did she know, the student the staff member had mentioned with higher spirit power was actually Zixingyu. As he heard the name, he recalled that it wasn't the first time he had heard it before and wondered if he might run into her. However, he understood that he needed to get back to the library and study more to grow stronger. Just then, the principal took an item out of her pocket, walked up to him, and smiled. She handed it to him, stating that it was his reward for the battle. She explained that she could appreciate talent and that the reward was also for winning the match. He saw the item and the system window immediately popped up, stating that it was a spatial ring. It could hold everything a beast master might need, such as food, supplements, monster cores, and loot. Zixingyu was shocked by the information and wondered why he had received such a rare item from her. He questioned himself, realizing that nothing was ever truly free in this world. He couldn't help but wonder what she would want in return at some point in the future. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and like. It really helps me out.